Aloha guys, pleasure to be around out here after hours and late night at a Ward Village area, and wanting to express a super breakdown of concepts with the inclusion of relevant matters regarding myself and Mr. G, in addition to other concerns and good news of an upcoming 100 New Ideas book. So, first of all, check out the headline here. The newspaper, it says, can you read that? Fuck. To highlight that, it says a nice positive thing. Aloha, and then we're on the fucking thing. Passing by the movie theater and what have you, and so the bottom line is, I made efforts to keep things positive. They did get stressed out to a degree, both of us under pressure, and I'm just going to describe a general approach to dealing with problematic situations. In this one in particular, with Mr. G, was he seems to have misinterpreted my general approach. In thinking that I'm wanting to demean him and secretly be passive aggressive towards him and whatever it may be, and that would be out of character for me to be even doing something like that, but that's what his interpretation of my actions was, and therefore I need to make a distance between him and myself until such matters can be addressed, which he has expressed no desire to talk about. But more importantly, I'm going to call it laws of the jungle. In that, for one, I feel threatened by him because of his, him thinking that I'm a threat. I consider him, I consider him like a somebody who I can't trust, and therefore I'm going to treat him. For me, it's like somebody who I don't want to further aggravate or offend. For who knows, if he really thinks I'm that much of a disrespectful person, he might try to in some way sabotage me, or verbally or physically target me. And the best way to deal with people who are a real potential threat to you, is to label them, or tell them indirectly through third parties like friends or whatnot, that you feel intimidated by them, or you feel they are a threat, and that's just a way of expressing clearly that you don't want to be around them. And you're not saying that you're not saying labeling, you're not getting into details and trying to be right, quote unquote. You're just trying to feel good, because when you try to be right, you further create conflict in trying to, like, if I was to go into details about, I think I'm right on this and that, and he's wrong, then that will create more ensuing drama, and perhaps either aggravate myself or him more. And so instead, what you want to do is just state plainly that sorry that things didn't work out, or whatnot, and you know, until such time we can talk it out. Or in other instances, you just want to completely dissolve any connection you have with a person, depending on the level of graveness of the circumstance, and more importantly, even if some parties might think that they need, there needs to be a forgiveness or apology or whatever, you might try to extend that, and sometimes if there's debts involved, you might offer a payment plan as to what you can afford, or if you can afford to even out whatever financial imbalance there is. It's another thing, but the point is to, instead of labeling somebody rude or trying to get back at them, just protecting yourself by saying the truth that you feel you're afraid of them and their potential actions, and therefore you want to respectfully distance yourself. And that's a good general premise, seek and give space when there is anger in the air, when either yourself is upset or another person. And those are laws of the jungle, laws of privacy. And by the way, this idea of privacy, that's real richness. Having privacy, that's real richness. Being able to blast your music or just do what you want wherever you are. Have a sense of your own space. That's richness. And obviously, you don't need a lot of money to achieve that. You can go and take a walk in the woods. Although I wouldn't encourage going too far, because you might hurt yourself and then not be able to get back, right? That's a side point. The main point I'm trying to make here, though, is that laws of safety. It's like defining people quickly, looking around, seeing if people are a threat, looking at their feet so you don't have to make eye contact with them, glancing around. These are laws of the jungle that, laws where such things as that you have to how do I say, in situations like, I think the whole idea of co-ed schooling is not useful. It's better for there to be gender segregated schooling that would allow people to, it would allow them to not feel a sexual tension, especially at a young age. You don't want to be forced into an environment where you are expected to be, have to look good, and if at minimum, and even worse, have peer pressure of different pressures of trying to, this whole idea of that it's good to, lose your virginity, and good to drink, how much drugs or alcohol can you handle. That's with the ego, and how mean you can be. That the ego orchestrates this world in which is immature, where people say stuff like they talk about breast size or penis size, or just superficial stuff that is unfriendly and and it's an egoic world, which you want to distance yourself from. You don't want to be. You want to be in a world of wholesomeness, of love, of fun. Fun as well, but drawing a line between fun and trying to and having power over others. We don't want to have power over other people, because it's a burden. It's a burden to, people think that, oh, rich people, or people in the certain rich people, or people in government, whatever, are lucky because they have this power or privilege where they don't have to work, or they take advantage of other people by making money off of interest, and trying to brainwash people, or do things like, if you're a doctor, practice big pharma, or sell your soul to big pharma, or dentists sell your soul to fluoride toothpaste companies, where the fluoride's poisonous. You don't want that in your body. Or etc. The list goes on. Be a teacher, and sell your soul to teaching stuff you don't believe is that important or relevant to a child's success, and it's just miscellaneous information that doesn't really have any real world application. There are other things, like labeling somebody your child, or son, or daughter, or nephew, or niece, or grandchild, or labeling somebody your father, mother, aunt, uncle, grandfather, etc. All these terms they don't imply love, they imply authority. And sometimes the authority is useful, obviously, as someone's younger. And when they're an adult, when they, it's not good. It's not good for them to be labeling people these roles, because what it does is in effect, it makes you feel like you're either submissive or dominant. And even if you like the person, it's not about whether the person's nice, it's about what role they play in your life. And even if you think, oh well, I'm just labeling, this is the whole idea of not wanting to, rather die. In some movies, one of the characters, the hero, would rather die than label somebody their king, or whatever it is. That's the principle I'm suggesting here. That even it's at a psychological level, when you, like, for example, I think that's one of the primary causes of people hating the opposite gender, because they're labeling somebody their female authority, like mother, or whatnot, and then people hating also men because they're labeling somebody their father. And this all occurs. It all occurs when when you label somebody your mother or father, it makes you subconsciously want to be looking for the right terminologies here. Basically submit to them, be subservient in your wanting to placate them For example, subconsciously, if you're labeling somebody your authority, you'll be more inclined to sway towards one direction in your life or lifestyle. Uh, and it's not love either. Love is equality. Love is the dream team relationship that I conceptualized, where you you label somebody your equal, your spiritual brother or sister, as it were, and care about them, and like them because you have mutual interest, not just because you're obligated uh, by legal or biological relations reasons, but because you voluntarily want to, and that's true love, because you both want to practice the same beliefs, because you truly have chosen them and selected them. And that brings up the other idea of actually individuality. It occurs when somebody really takes time to think about life and explore, but in a safe way. Sometimes exploration can occur on the internet. You can study new things online, and without having to expose yourself to real-world threats and dangers, and really contemplate things. And people say that, oh, you can't understand marriage or relate or sex if you haven't experienced it, or relationship problems. But of course you can. We can online. We have a whole database of videos and discussions explaining things. And that's another thing. It's sexual compatibility. For some people, certain bodies and body parts are more important to have, and compatibilities. And so it's for the individual to know. um, for example, the woman with a dildo sex toy can determine what her size of it. And the whole idea of size, that it's better to be a certain size. It's really not. Uh, in my opinion, I think it's just variety. It's just people's preference. And there of course there is the science of compatibility. Matching yourself up, and you have to decide that as an individual. Mm. And I actually think it's better to be medium-sized uh, for the sex organs, men and women, and for women to have small breasts. I think breasts kind of interfere with things, exercise, even sex, intercourse. In any case, it just the point being that it's somebody that you really care about and love. There isn't going to be any possibility for cheating. And by the way, if somebody's not your dream mate and you're labeling them something else, like wife, spouse, girlfriend, and you couldn't label them a dream mate, then they're not your dream mate. They're not there for you in your dreams. And so my encouragement to people is I'm gonna be making this book, 100 New Ideas, and it's going to entail three themes. One of them being existential joy, the other being self-control, and the other being an orientation around truth. And so the only way to achieve that, though, is to really want it and think about it, and know that you know, you only have to attract one person, your dream mate. And realize that, you know, sometimes it's best to just be alone by yourself, in privacy, and really seek, really seek what you want. You know, that's something that you can do. You know, for yourself. And thanks for considering this breakdown of ideas. And talk to you again soon. Aloha.